One unfortunate thing about doing these videos daily is that I sometimes lose track of how much time has passed. I was playing Reigen Doushi and thinking, didn't I just play another game based on a Hong Kong action film about Kyonshi? And no, I played it over 4 months ago, and it was almost exactly 1 year between the two games' releases. The film Reigen Doushi was distributed in the US as Mr. Vampire. It's a solid but not really exceptional entry into the martial arts horror genre, though it was wildly successful in Hong Kong, spawning around a dozen sequels in a film series that lasts 30 years. When the game came to the US, the license was stripped from it since the movie isn't well known. The game doesn't really follow the plot of the movie, it just stars the same characters. You're a traveling Taoist priest who fights monsters in various villages. And in each town you come to, your goal is to collect 3 jade orbs, then battle the boss vampire. As you're wandering the town, stand in front of a door and press A or B to tell you what the building is. And when you go inside a location, you begin a series of one-on-one fights against a monster. In these battles, the A button kicks, the B button punches, and you can press up to jump. You can also duck, but you can't attack while you're ducking. At least not until you buy an ability that you'd get very late in the game. Initially, the kicks have longer range, but are weaker attacks, while the punches are able to hit the Kyonshi who get right on top of you. There's not a whole lot of variety to the enemies that you face. They hop with their arms outstretched, and then kind of vaguely wave them. If your attack winds up hitting their attack, you both can take damage. And thanks to the long reach of the Kyonshi, that's going to wind up happening a lot. The best tactic I found was to kick them a couple of times, and then back off. Basically, run in and out. That said, after you get a few attack upgrades, it can be more effective to just stand there and hit them as they jump toward you. Defeat all the Kyonshi in the building, and you get a reward. You need 3 of the Jade Spheres to be able to confront the boss, and they also heal you to full when you collect one. You can also get scrolls, which are used to buy ability upgrades, and special items that change your attacks. When you go back to the entrance of the location, your assistant pops up and offers to let you go out, or change your special item. You can only have one special item equipped at a time, and they replace the punch button. Every time you get hit while you're using a special item, there's a chance it could break. The talisman freezes Kyonshi in place, while the mirror dazzles them and sends them backwards. Between the two, the talisman's better because you can attack after you use it. The sword extends your reach, but it's a very weak weapon. By the time you've upgraded your punch, it's already fallen behind on the damage. The last item is a special one. You can only equip the bell if you're in the room with the child Kyonshi. Then when you ring it, he joins your side and will fight in your place. He's also extremely weak, limited to the terrible hopping movement, and can't really do anything, so it's not worth using him at all. One important thing about the scrolls and special items, you can keep collecting them. Go back in, defeat the Kyonshis that are there again, and you'll get the reward for that location once again. And you actually have to do this with the scrolls. The scrolls are used to buy move upgrades, and so you'll need to get all of them. But there aren't enough scrolls that you can buy all the moves. In fact, there's not enough scrolls that you could buy half the moves. And that winds up making Reigen Doushi very grindy. You have to collect a certain number of scrolls, then go turn them in for your upgrade. And with the vampires getting tougher through each level, it can actually take quite a bit of work to just acquire those scrolls. In the second village, for example, you have to defeat 2 consecutive enemies to get the scrolls. So when you start out and you're underpowered for the village, it's actually kind of difficult to take out 2 in a row. If you get a game over, you lose all the scrolls that you're carrying. Fortunately, there's infinite continues, so you can always just grind your way up again. There's 2 important locations that you need to know about in town. The first is the temple. It's always guarded by 1 Kyonshi, and once you defeat it, it's gone forever. After that, you can just walk to the back of the temple and get healed to full at any time. You're probably going to need to just come back here in between every single house clearing. The other important building in town is the dojo. That's where you can trade your scrolls in for abilities. But before you can train, you have to answer the apprentice's trivia question. Fortunately, they're all multiple choice, with just 3 options, and you can retry as many times as you like. For the first 2 towns, the first upgrade increases your punches, the second upgrade increases your kicks, the third increases your jump, and the fourth increases your speed. That pattern doesn't hold past that point, though. The last chamber in each village is the boss. The bosses are hopping vampires with special abilities, but the real danger from them is that they do a ton of damage. They can knock you out in 3 or 4 hits, so it helps to come in equipped with a talisman to stun lock them. I found one moment in Reigen Doshi that replicated the movie. Your apprentice can get kidnapped by a ghost, and that's similar to the film where the apprentice was having a love affair with a ghost. But in the film, she turned out to help them with the vampires, and here you have to beat her up. There's a lot to like in Reigen Doshi, but I feel like it comes up short. There's too few enemies and they're too similar to each other, and that scroll grind is just tiring. Over half my playtime for this video was just grinding up scrolls. And the grind gets worse on later levels. The game does give you a password when you get a game over, so as long as you're willing to put the time into it, you'll be able to beat this one. But I was already getting tired of doing the same fights over and over again after an hour. And this is a long game. Even the tool-assisted speedrun takes an hour. They put a lot of effort into making the game look good, but not a lot of effort into making it play well. It's easy to see why this one's a bit of a forgotten game.